Okay, I got the sound back. I just turned the game off and started it again, and it's fine. So I don't know what happened. So we're gonna go back and start again. Because I don't know if either of the ones that Omen said were actually voiced or not. Um, so don't want to risk missing out on his lovely voice. The hour is late and the day's been long, really bloody long. I resisted the lure of the tavern and dragged myself straight to my room. Quite a bit has changed in the last few months, but the most important thing is that I have a new mattress that isn't made of rocks. It's the small victories in life. I took off my boots and collapsed onto the bed, staring at the ceiling and contemplating just passing out of my uniform. Ever since defeating Harry, Lunaris has been, well, incredibly boring. Yes, there's been plenty of monsters and piles of paperwork that I wish were monsters so I could at least set them on fire or something. But the boring part is that I've been alone. With Omen gone, my friends have found great joy in telling me how much of a buzzkill I am. I can't find it in me to disagree. No matter how many nights I spend watching Elcar, Piper, and Finn drink each other under the table, that ache in my chest remains. And I just dropped my chest. I turn onto my side and cast a glance at the brimstone lilies that sit pride of place on my bedside table, still glowing that glorious red. I smile because they look a little brighter than usual, and wait. I sit up quickly, grabbing them and staring down at the furiously burning petals, glow pulsing like a heartbeat. What the? It can't be. There we go. That wasn't getting sound at all. I rushed to the door and dug it open faster than the speed of light, and my beloved, Omen. And of course, we're going to kiss him. Before I can even open his mouth to respond, I'm in his arms. More pointedly, my mouth is on his, and it feels like he never left. He kisses me in return, his fingers clutching at the fabric of my shirt like he never means to let me go. I really hope that's true, because now that he's here, that he's real and in front of me, I don't think I could watch him leave again. I tug him forward, and he kicks the door closed behind him, laughing against my lips as we stumble and sway towards the bed. We fall back against the mattress in a heap of tangled limbs, both of us refusing to let each other go. For whatever reason, I wasn't getting sound before, and now I am. I mumble my agreement against the warm skin of his throat, forgetting just how hot he is. Literally. Not at all. I reluctantly sit back and get a good look at him, still not quite believing that he's actually here. Yes, can you tell? As if I could say no. Then there's a knock at the door. A loud one. An August one. Omen quickly scoots back to sit near the pillows, his legs crossed beneath him. I sigh, missing the contact already, but it's just as well he removed himself from my hold. Otherwise, I'm sure my Lieutenant General would begin to kick down the door. Yup. Coming! I open the door and find August looking tired and guilty. I am so sorry, but I need you. It's fine, it's just a bad time? I expect them to glare or raise that perpetually judgy brow at theirs. Instead, they sigh. I heard. That's why I'm sorry. I know you want a proper reunion, but I nod. It's all right, August. I'll be there right away. They rest a hand upon my shoulder and offer me a sorry smile. Thank you. Please ask him to refrain from opening any hell portals. I roll my eyes and smile right back at them, closing the door in their face and listening to the click of their heels as they depart. I rest against the door and look at Omen, the sight of him making my heart ache. I promise? He shakes his head, his tail flicking behind him. Run, Dick. I swear it. I cross the room and take his hands in my own, squeezing it once before I grab my coat and head for the door. I'll try not to be long. I'll be here. Piper and I sit and wait to be briefed on the apparently urgent enough to be pulled away from my newly returned demon boyfriend, Matter. She's just as unenthused as I am. Her feet tap against the floor rapidly where she lounges in the chair, legs spread. August enters and she makes no effort to sit up, simply frowning a little harder as they take a seat at their desk. Thank you for coming at such short notice. Yeah, well, what's bloody new, right? She straightens up with the prospect of getting to fight something. Not another night of you tearfully drunking me begging us to help you plan a meeting with some diplomat from Tuscana because he's cute. I kick her boot as I spot the cheeks getting pinker by the second. You promised me we'd not speak of that night. You promised me we'd never speak of that night. And we won't, will we, Piper? She scoffs, leaning forward and reaches across the desk to place her hand on top of August, offering them a reassuring pat. No, we won't. Then she smirks. I know that she isn't letting it go. I worry for her life. Send your darling my love in your next letter, won't you? Anyway, they clear their throat and settle back into that familiar, stuffy demeanor. There's a chimera on the loose. Pepper groans loudly beside me, throwing her hands in the air as she hauls herself out of her chair and begins to pace. I offer them a small smile, one that says I'm terribly sorry for her, but you're used to it by now. Are you sure? Because last time it was a cat, and the time before that, yes, I'm aware. I'm also aware that chimeras are incredibly unpredictable and murderous. They throw Piper a pointed glance. And if we ignore every report that comes in involving a chimera and one actually turns up and gobbles up the townsfolk, they spread their hands and offer me the floor. That would be bad. Yes, it would be very bad. Yes, we get it. It's always fucking chimeras, isn't it? Can't you sign an order that makes every Lunarian get a bloody eye test? I'm mad. Look, I am very sorry that this probably unfounded report has come in at such an hour, but you're my best hunters, and I'd very much appreciate it if you were on it. Don't worry. I stand and take Piper by the elbow because the faster we get the fuck out of here and find this whatever it is, the sooner I get home to Omen. I literally just saw him for the first time in Satan knows how many months, and yet here I sit watching these two tear each other new arseholes. There truly is no justice in the world. Oi! I flash her a warning glance and try my hardest to convey my urgency with wide eyes. I probably look crazy. She growls through clenched teeth and tosses August a glare as I drag her from their office. I wave at them politely before I close the door. Piper and I step outside with nothing but a hastily scribbled pile of reports in our hands. The first report states that there was unusual activity in the forest. Right? I smirk at her and knock her shoulder with mine in passing. Come on, the sooner it gets us done, the sooner we can go. She sidesteps alongside me, a mischievous look on her face. So, Devil Boy is back, I bet you missed him. I cast her sideways glance as she waggles her eyebrows. I dread to think what filthy thoughts are running through her head. Why do you ask? And then the all too familiar howl. Of a creature rings out. I look to the sky, but I already know there's no full moon until tomorrow, and our lichen treaties are solid thanks to August. There's only one other creature besides the lichen that could make such a noise. So maybe we do have a chimera? Let's dash. Piper spins on her heel and unsheathes her daggers, heading for the tree line. I pocket her reports and follow suit. Sure enough, the forest seems off. That's not saying a lot for Lunaris, but this particular area of the forest is in a sorrier state than usual. There's fresh, deep welts clawed into the tree trunks, and portions of the forest floor are upturned as if something was trying to bury deep. Piper and I close our eyes, standing in the center of the clearing in total silence. I let my other senses take over, my heart slowing, my fingers tingling. I can feel a creature nearby, but it feels... You've got to be fucking kidding me. And then that I see our culprit. Two glowing crimson eyes peeking from behind a tree far too small to conceal all 6'2" of him and his stupid bushy tail. You hunters are always ruining my life, especially you. He jabs a finger in Piper's direction and her scowl relaxes into something soft. Huh? Fond, almost. Oh boy, I don't get paid to witness this. I'll never get the image of them kissing each other's faces off in the alley beside the wolf out of my brain. The last thing I need is a replay. So, this is the only route where this happens. Because if you don't romance Alcar or Omen, well, even if you do romance, well, let me rephrase it. If you romance Alcar and Omen, or you don't romance either of them, they end up together. But if you romance Omen but not Alcar, then Alcar and Piper end up together. So that's part of my reason for picking Omen for this playthrough, because a lot of people miss out on this because they don't romance Omen, or if they do romance him, they go for the poly route. So I want to give this an opportunity. I think for some people it seems to come out of the blue because we didn't see any hint that this was possible in the game. We didn't really see Piper and Alcar interact, and that was deliberate on the part of the developers. But I think it would have been more clear to players that this was a possibility if they had seen some hint of interaction between them beyond Piper flipping off Alcar in the first chapter. That's me. Oh, that voice. I haven't heard this, so this is amazing. Please, not here. So, do we let them continue or do we step in? So, I don't remember how it goes either way, so we're going to let the dice decide. Odd number, we let them continue, even if we step in. And it's a D4 for the record. It's a 1, so we're going to let them continue. Okay, let's see how this goes. When these two are in the same room lately, the only thing that can stop them is a cold bucket of water. So I sit back and cross my arms over my chest, and I let them do whatever it is that they call this. Oh, there's also a comment. Not so much comment. There's an observation that the hunter makes if they don't romance Alcar or Omen. And they say if Alcar wasn't with Omen, they would tell Alcar and Piper to just get over it and start kissing. Alcar clears his throat, his cheeks turning pink. It's not a very convincing argument. I think I just heard Piper's ego grow 10 sizes. Piper hums, clearly not believing him, but Alcar is a terrible liar, and I think he actually might be telling the truth. Then Alcar smiles. She scoffs and brushes it off, her cheeks darkening exponentially. I cannot keep up with this. Then Alcar looks at me. We are here on an investigation which I'd very much like to solve, so I can go home to my boyfriend, who has been gone for months. The reason Omen has been gone is because Elaine and Armoros got married. So Omen left Lunaris to kind of ease worries about there being two relatively powerful demons in the same town. So he's just now getting back after being gone for a while. And probably wants to see more of the country anyway. So if you two can keep it in your pants for just a moment longer, these claw marks and burrows, have you seen any sign of a chimera? Alcar's cheeks turned pink. Bright pink. Brighter than when my comrade had been flirting with him. Alcar. Seriously, this mess was you? He throws his hands up in the air, his tail lashing wildly behind him. I sighed, taking the first report out of my pocket and tearing it to shreds. It's fine. It's not your fault. Alcar poked a little harder, his tail now wagging so fiercely that it's a near blur. I tried to reassure him. This is perfectly normal. It happens to every lichen. I know that. I don't know why, but I just love the way the voice actor delivered that line. It's just really good. Piper is still looking at him like that, and it's beginning to creep me out. I am happy they're finally stopped trying to murder each other, but that might actually be preferable to this. We are definitely leaving. Come on. Technology has not been my friend lately. Report number 2 says something about a strange figure being spotted lurking in the graveyard. Again, not entirely unusual for a town like Lunaris. I can't help but feel like we're truly being taken on a wild goose chase. Oh, a goose trick. We circled the headstones and looked for clues, nothing in particular indicating that a creature like a chimera could have passed through. They're not exactly subtle. I shrugged. Same, another dead end. My feet are starting to hurt, and so is my head. Almost 24 hours without sleep will do that to you, I suppose. I can see Piper is struggling too, her usual confident stance turning into a sleepy slump. Do you think we should split up? Piper sighs and kicks aside a hefty stone, sending it hurling into the forest. I guess I could hit up clue 3 while you hang out here for a bit. I grabbed the report number 3 out of the pile and handed it to her, eyeing a particularly comfortable spot in the grass. I might just take a quick break on. Deal. Meet me back at headquarters after? You've got it, boss. I roll my eyes and watch as she patters on, heading towards the deserted ibex. I settle down in the grass, a gentle breeze rustling the canopy of trees that hang over me. The stars are bright and abundant as I lay back and gaze up at the skies, and with little effort I find myself drifting off. Probably not a good idea, really. I'm the sort of person I cannot take naps in public. No. I do not feel, I need to feel a certain safety and security, and I wouldn't feel that out in public like that. But that's me. This is a graveyard, after all. But I just can't stop myself. I don't know how long I doze off for, but when I wake, I do so to the sound of something flapping around my head. I sit up fast, and my head and my heart pounding, and I hear a muted giggle coming from somewhere in the graveyard. I stand and clutch for the deck I keep on my holster, and I see a hulking shadow out of the corner of my eye. Fuck. I lunge, flashing blindly into the darkness, and I hit a cloud of thick black smoke that dissipates upon contact. I hear another giggle, and the smoke curls in on itself and begins to float away, almost as if it's daring me to follow. So, like the heroic idiot I am, I oblige. I chase it halfway across town and down into the depths of the catacombs, and the smoke comes to a standstill. Then it materializes into something that most definitely isn't a chimera. Anyone want to guess who it is? So, giving you time to guess. Okay, I'm about to move on, so you're going to see if you guess correctly or not. I suddenly realized I had a strange feeling I recognized that high-pitched giggle. So, one more. Hey, good looking. Yep, it was Raven. Raven? Why? Although, to be honest, I don't think I guessed that it was Raven the very first time I played this. She shrugged. Spotted you napping and thought you could do with a little something to get you back on your toes. Not mad, are you? I sighed and put my dagger away when she eyes it pointedly, almost forgetting I was holding it all together. No, I'm not mad. I was just looking for a creature. There's a report of something big and scary lurking in the graveyard. Her red eyes lightened up, practically glowing in the dull candlelight. Scary, you say? Good to know my hard work paid off. Raven, what do you mean? She wiggled her fingers in front of my face. Been working on some new forms is all. This is my biggest yet. Ah, so, another death report then. Wonderful. I see. Then Raven stiffens up, her expression growing serious. Uh-oh. Then I hear footsteps. Please don't tell him. Michelle, to what do we owe the pleasure? Hi, Finn. I offered him an awkward wave, and I know he's instantly suspicious, his golden eyes flicking between Raven and me. What did she do? Raven looks at me and winks, grinning devilishly. I can never be the one to tell Finn. I always make Raven tell him. I sigh. Finn is my friend. I can't just stand here and lie to his face. He pays for most of our ransomness, and this isn't the first time Raven has scared the living daylights out of our townsfolk recently. However, I don't have to be the one to play the bad guy here. He's literally the bad guy. Raven, I think you should tell him. Tell me what? Fine. Raven hooks her arm through his, and he closes up to him, sighing deeply as she flutters her lashes. See, the thing is, I said I might have found a new form to play in. I've asked you so many times. Come on, I get bored when Lex is working. What's a girl supposed to do in Buenos Aires, spending all the time buried between a witch? Okay, that's enough. I'm sure those of us who are adults can guess where she was going with that. Yes, thank you, we got things read. Oh my gosh, this place, I don't know why I love his voice so much. Just, so good. He offers me a sympathetic, albeit slightly embarrassed smile. Sorry, Michelle, I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Finn playfully swats her away, side-eyeing her brutally as she waves at me and skips off down the corridor, disappearing into the darkness. Anyway, is there anything else that we can help you with? Haven't happened to see a chimera knocking about anywhere, have you? No, and I'd certainly know if there was. We all would. Horrible, smelly things. Could sense one a mile off. I say. I know, but we keep getting reports of one being sighted all over town. Isn't that just a really big cat again? I have to laugh, thinking that it probably most definitely is. Yes, at this point it has to be. I take a path through the deserted market on my way back to headquarters. No more reports to gaze upon for clues, no more nothing. At least the citizens of Lunaris are safe and tucked up in their beds if a horrible three-headed monster does pop out of the shadows. I look up at the stars and take a deep breath, filling my lungs with fresh air, and I smile. Despite a total waste of my night, I still feel like at least I've done my job. And then, a quiet meow. Coco? Thank you for bringing her back. I was so worried. She's been gone for hours now. I smiled as we're watching Coco weave between his feet, her tail flicking against his calves. No problem at all. I guess she's pretty lucky there wasn't a chimera out there. Oh, she'd be fine if there was. I look at Coco and see the wise, magical glimmer in her wide eyes, and I think that she definitely would stand her own against such a beast. Then I wonder if maybe she did cause a little trouble on her travels. Are you okay? Do you want some tea? His green eyes glisten at the prospect of offering hospitality, but I'm dying to get home to Omen. I'll pass tonight, thank you. Plus, it's stupid o'clock. Aren't you tired? Then I hear footsteps upstairs. Purposefully loud footsteps. The night is young for vampires. It definitely is. I'll leave you to it. Thank you. I hear Omen is back. My heart flutters at the sound of his name. He is, but I had to leave after a whole 2 minutes of getting to see him. Then go to him and give him my love. I'm happy to hear he's home. Good night, Michelle. Good night, Ezra. We don't get to hear Ezra. Obviously, if you romance Ezra, whether by himself or with Finn, you do get a voice line or two with him. After meeting with Piper back at the office and debriefing, I dragged myself across town and back home. Finally. I feel strangely nervous to see him, even though such thoughts are ridiculous. I have so much to ask him, but when I open the door and see his smiling face where he's still sitting upon the bed, every other thought dissolves until there's nothing but Omen. You're back? I'm back. He sighs, his shoulders slumping in relief as I tug off my boots and my coat. I quickly go to him, his brown eyes bright as I settle upon the mattress beside him. He takes my hands in his own and warms me through the heat of his skin, something I'd almost forgotten. Omen, are you back for good? If. The man says if. After the way I greeted him, he says if. To do little else but throw my arms around him, sending both of us falling back against the pillows, his laughter like music to my ears. I bury my face in the crook of his neck and take a deep breath. The thought of being able to have this every day and night again, something I've been dreaming of for months. I'm guessing this pleases you? I'm sorry that I've gone for so long. The thought of you every day. I take his face in my hands. Okay, so we can have some fun, i.e. sleep with him, just smooch him, or just sleep. I'm sorry, but we're going to have some fun. I've been without. I'm in withdrawal. And then I kiss him firm on the lips. He's smiling, and I can feel it in his kiss, unfettered joy rolling through me in waves. I pull away, still holding his face so I can really bask in the sight of him. We have so much to catch up on, but, I smile, something wicked and purposeful, and I can feel the weight of his gaze. I need you. His mouth is on mine, and it's the only response I'll ever need. He moves over me, his hands mapping my body like his every curve committed to memory, like he never left. His touch is reverent, every drag of his fingertips from the hot press of his mouth like a revelation. I really can't believe this is my life sometimes. I'll never be over the fact that he's mine, that he's back for good. Tomorrow will always come too soon, but for now, I lose myself in him. I suppose that Lunaris isn't quite so boring after all. So that's one mini story down. So, Till Death. This is the one that gets a lot of people bawling. Just give me a moment. I need to look something up. So Okay, I'm back. And of course, same name. Yeah, I think it's up. Okay. It's one of those nights. The forest surrounding Lunaris is quiet save for the wind, as though every living being is collectively holding their breath. It has the eerie effect of making every sound I create as I move through the trees seem too loud, too naked. I can even hear my own heartbeat. Strangely enough, I can't hear the other person beside me, but his presence, into almost nothing for my senses' sake, tells me he's never far. The night I first came to Lunaris, it was somewhat like this, maybe a little more ominous. This is true. Omen twists a strand of his hair around one finger and frowns at it, his expression dejected, and not all too well. Guilt. The veil we mentioned, which keeps the worst of the underworld creatures from our realm, was weakened back then, precisely because he escaped hell. Shaking my head, I turn and wrap my hand around Omen's restless one. He blinks as I pry his fingers loose, then smiles when I bring them up to my lips for a kiss. Nah. Thank you. Oh look, he blushed! He's blushing! I'll say it as many times as it takes for you to understand. The veil might have been something you did, but you're not responsible for everything that happened after. Omen's expression softens entirely now. He smiles, and it takes real effort not to blush from the affection showing so plainly in place of his worry. Still, I have to admit, maybe I do feel a bit hot below the collar. I clear my throat and let go of Omen's hand, if only because there are more important things to deal with right now. Speaking of, thank you for coming out tonight. Oh my gosh. So sweet. There's no blame in Owen's voice, only curiosity in the arch of his brow, but I grimace anyway. He has a point. It's been so busy. If it's not one thing, then it's another. You'd have thought that someone as high-ranking as me would have more subordinates to delegate the little things to. And I do, but in the past few months I've come to learn that the skill and foresight required to delegate such things is a career in and of itself. You're right. I'm sorry about my absence. Omen laughs and steps closer, wagging his finger in front of my face with a wink. Cheeky. Yes, love. Omen laughs again. The rich, bright sound feels as though it lights a heart inside my chest. It's impossible to fight the urge to smile myself. We best get to finding those bandits. They're definitely not going to turn themselves in. I suppose. I Omen. Surely there's something in your toolkit to make a bunch of wandering troublemakers give up and come quietly? Surely. But what can I do that you can't do better? Now my ears definitely feel hot. Does it have to say everything so earnestly? I look away and clear my throat. Let's just get a move on and get home. Before I lose control and start doing something inappropriate anyway. Omen's smile is mischievous, like he knows the effect of his words on me, but soon it softens to something much kinder. He bows and gestures for me to go first with a sweeping hand. It's easy and quick work, at least. They aren't monsters. These aren't monsters we're tracking as much as a bunch of delinquents with ties to creatures who keep causing trouble too near the Lunaris. We track them the old-fashioned way, with footprints in the dirt, markings on the trees I know weren't there before, and after a while, muffled cursing in the bushes. Why did you choose to do this out here? I wanted to sneak out and spend time with you, to be honest. Omen squeezes my hand, then traces a soft circle on the back of it with a finger, and then traces that finger up my arm. I'm grateful. The chatter in the bushes has quieted. It's too late, of course. I've already heard them, and my weapon is already half rigged. Relatedly, I realize that Omen's touch isn't just a sign of affection. A thin glowing thread of fire rises from my hand where I touch, snaking to my other hand that holds my weapon, and curling around it in a very recognizable pattern. Brimstone lilies. And then it coats my weapon in fire. It won't harm them. Not too bad, anyway. Just some burns and Omen strokes his chin and frowns, clearly trying to recall the word. Paralysis? Paralymphoma? Paralysis? He snaps his finger, eyes bright. Yes! I'm already gone, though. Not because I don't want to stay, but because I can hear movement in the bushes. A volley of badly aimed throwing knives comes at me from the vegetation, followed by something that hisses and fizzles like a bomb waiting to explode. Sidestepping those things are easy. Grabbing the first offender by the scruff of his neck is even easier. He's a youth, not much older than the youngest of our senior hunters, with his wide bottle green eyes and fish scales on his skin. Hybrids. Surrender. His eyes narrow. I can hear the or what even before he says it, and I look up to see his 10 or so buddies approaching, knives out. We don't get much further than that. The world seems to dim and become glazed in a hellish red. The air thickens, an invisible and horrific pressure making my legs nearly give out. Training keeps me on my feet. The bandits, not so much. They fall, collapsing on the ground, their eyes wide with fright. Omen steps next to me, his hair trailing fire, gaze glowing like a blacksmith's gorge, the whites of his eyes abyss black. There's a frightening echo in his voice when he speaks, like something deep inside a pit calling up. And you said you can't do better than I can. Omen smiles. It's probably terrifying with how he's looking right now, but I'll be nice. He's beautiful. I've rarely had the chance to see any demon so up close before, least of all a demon prince. Omen wears his power like a shroud. The sheer pressure he exerts nearly crushing. His expression is calm, detached. Then he blinks and it's over. Omen smiles at me with gentle brown eyes. On the ground, the bandits lay still, quivering. I sheathe my weapon, then take his hand and kiss his knuckles. Thank you. Aw, sweetheart. He stops and mutters something under his breath, then yanks me in for a quick kiss placed to the corner of my mouth. Let's do something about these poor people. It ends up being more work than I figured, but I don't mind. The bandits are unharmed, but can't stand steady without their knees knocking together, let alone walk, so I have to send a message back to Lunaris for backup via enchanted paper. But that's something for the juniors to take care of. After carefully securing the shivering fools with some ropes, take Omen by the arm, and we hurry away from the crime scene. Shouldn't you stay and tell them what to do? They'd better know what to do. Omen seems dubious for a moment, but shrugs it off. He pulls me further away, too, towards the outskirts of town. He stops and wraps an arm around my waist. Of course we're going to kiss him. His lips are warm and soft on mine when they meet, and I lean eagerly into the kiss, running my tongue down his sharp bottom teeth the way I know he likes it. My reward is a low noise from Omen, almost like a growl. His hold on me tightens. I push backwards until I gently hit a tree, and Omen leans close, his eyes bright with fire. The air feels seared, heavy, almost hard to breathe, hard to think straight through the thundering of my heart and the way Omen is looking at me, like he sees everything and wants everything. He's not holding on to me very tightly, but he might as well have me pinned like a butterfly on a collector's canvas. I can't move, can't think straight. Then he chuckles. It's small, amused, and when Omen blinks his eyes are back to normal. It breaks the spell. Who told you to stop? Omen, we're in the middle of the woods. There's nowhere else we could be where people can't care less. Omen kisses me again, a quick and playful pick on the lips this time before drawing away. He catches on. He looks pensive. I haven't missed that. Is something the matter? I was thinking. He hesitates. I wait. And wait. After a long moment of silent contemplation, his arms still loosely around my waist, Omen looks me in the eye again. Pensiveness is back, but behind it is something odd I can't quite place. There's a voice in the back of my mind that admits how remarkable Omen has gotten with mimicking and displaying human emotions. I ignore it. Elaine and Amoros is misspelled. I've been having a great time with their Richard's throat and furrows his brow. Marriage. Oh, good for them? What those two have been doing, I don't know in specifics. Not because I don't care, but because as a lieutenant general, I feel like the less I know about a human who used to run a cult and the demon princess he married, the less trouble they'll spare everyone in the long run. Omen studies me, and I belatedly realize he's watching for a reaction. Is it nearly their anniversary? I could probably escape for a few days if you wanted to celebrate with them. No, it's not about that. It's... Pursing his lips, Omen lets me go, only to take my hand again. His grip is gentle, almost too much so. He studies it with head tilted, contemplative. Ah, he proposes! And hence the name of the extra. So all the others are similar situations. Either you propose or they propose. And then marriage. Are you asking me if I want to marry you? Owen meets my eyes. He's neither blushing nor flustered. The intensity in his gaze, however, is making my skin heat. Yes. This is a good question. Yes. The demon turn. So, rolling the dice again. Rolling the dice. Odd number, we pick the first option. Even number, we pick the second option. So here we go. It's odd. It's a 1. Omen blinks at me. Then he laughs. I realized I said what I was thinking out loud. What else was I supposed to say? Hesitation? Omen says it so mildly, but there's a new light to his face. He's squeezing my hands, grin wide. None. So, yes? Yes. He relaxes then. I didn't even realize his intent. But he does relax and throws arms around me and picks me up with supernatural ease, swinging me in a circle and laughing. So be it. I can't keep the grin off my face. News, especially this kind of juicy news, travels at the speed of light around Lunaris. I don't even know who first told who and how it spreads, but the next day, when I come into headquarters with the incident report in hand, there's an audible and excited buzz. I know at once it has something to do with me, because its volume dims when I'm in sight and rises when I'm not. They think I can't hear. I should know better. I think that I also know exactly what it is they're talking about, but confirming it still feels too perilous. Hey, Michelle. So much for keeping it to myself. I turn and nod, just as Piper shoves a paper pusher associate aside to reach me. Her eyes are wide, her grin even wider. She looks a little shook-thing from her latest mission, but I don't think she's noticed, or simply doesn't care. General Merriman. Lieutenant General, you free? Actually, I was just about to go see Willenheim. To do what? Get an earful? I stare at her. She stays back, hands on her hips, and raises an eyebrow. I hate this town. Piper laughs then, and Marian, not at all mischievous chortle, and grabs my arm. She hauls me, unresisting, to a corner of headquarters where there are less people. As soon as we're relatively alone, Piper spins me around and looks into my eyes. Hey, Elaine said something about you and her brother about to tie the knot. Is that true? It was Elaine? Well, of course it would be Elaine. Omen probably rushed her after he saw me home to share the good news. But she likes to chat with the market people even more than her husband. So it's true. It's not a question. For a moment, I open my mouth and could think of nothing to say. In that moment, Piper scrutinizes me sharply, something like wariness and palpable concern in her expression. It's this that makes me break the fog. Don't worry, Piper. I know what I'm getting into. Uh-huh. Piper chuckles and shakes her head, but she slaps my back companionably and gives my shoulder a hard shake. When is it? When what? When's the wedding? Better get a solid date quick until August so they actually approve your vacation on time. And if you're going to tell them you'll be spending your honeymoon in hell, better sweeten that deal with a bottle of their favorite wine. You say this like you've ever sweetened the deal on anything with August. Piper rolls her eyes and makes a rude hand gesture. Anyway, for real, when's the ceremony? Piper, we haven't even sat down and really talked about it yet. Okay. How did he propose? Did he bring you the heart of his greatest nemesis? Give you a weapon enchanted with the flames of the raging abyss? She looks down and I follow her gaze to the brightly glowing brimstone lilies Omen once gave me to still curl around the hilt of my weapon. Or more flowers? He's surprisingly mushy-washy for a demon prince, don't you think? He's sweet. Nothing wrong with being sweet. Didn't say there was. Just unexpected is all. Piper tilts her head and studies me, then smirks. You two are suited to each other. Congratulations, I guess. Hope it won't be you on my plate sometime in the future. Piper. With this friendly nut threat, Piper slaps my arms one more time, then walks away. She hasn't gone far before I call after her. Piper. What? You seem unusually happy today. In fact, she seems absolutely giddy. Piper turns to me and stares for a moment. Her lips tremble and then bloom fully into a wide smile, her eyes gleaming. Yeah? Well, things are changing. And for once, I'm fucking happy about life's direction. Anyway, don't keep August waiting. I'll see you soon, over a drink if possible. For now, I better go make sure those new hunters don't trip over themselves and drown near the docks. With that and a wave, she marches away. I end up 5 minutes late to August's appointment time anyway. And predictably, they're not happy. I hope you have a list of names prepared for discipline, Lieutenant General, as I clearly heard your voice passing in front of my door, and then you left. It was Piper. August pinches the bridge of their nose and sighs sharply. I already know this was side, but because it's Piper. Not that August goes easier on her or anything, rather that we, know her well enough that any cursory attempt at discipline would just enrage her rather than do any good. I close the door behind me and step forward, saluting crisply to hopefully diffuse the situation some. August scrutinizes my movement, chin raised, then sighs again and steps behind my desk. I put the report I've come to deliver in front of them, and they flip it open to read. Knowing it won't take long, I come to their window and stand there, looking out. From here, there's nothing much I can see of the town, aside from rooftops and chimneys. It's still a surprisingly homey sight. Strange that Lunaris of all places has become such a home. It still sometimes feels like a matter of days ago when I first stepped foot in this town, surrounded by a frightening darkness and night fog. Is it true, then? Is what true? Rumors, you and Omen. August clearly wants to say something else. I know what they want to say, too. They've been referring to Omen as our demonic guest or your paramour more often than not. But they use his name now as more respect and thoughtfulness than I expected. Would you give me a dishonorable discharge if I said yes? No, but I dearly want to waste my breath giving you a lecture you will surely ignore, so I won't. Thank you. You know I always appreciate help getting my diary together. August glowers at me. I haven't seen them this annoyed in a while. Why don't you ask your friends in the catacombs for something in that regard? As for my wedding gift, I will be dealing with the bombardment of inquiries regarding your situation. Who is going to ask questions? What do you think? Everyone. The high rankings from other city-states, the hunter generals, their enforcers, and probably any tourists passing through. The warning in their eyes is clear. Keep this discreet. I take a long, deep breath. August does have a point, of course. The fewer people outside of our immediate eyesight who knows of this, the better. Don't worry, August. I'll keep it down and keep it to myself. Good. I count on your prudence, Lieutenant General. It's charming how gravely they say it, like my prudence is the most dependable factor about me. Is it that all for today? Do you have any questions about my report? No, you are dismissed. And make for the door, all too happy to be gone. As I step out, however, August calls after me. Congratulations. Smiling, I use the door closed. Yay. That was sweet of them. It's nightfall by the time I finish enough paperwork to warrant leaving headquarters with a clean conscience. The streets are empty after dark, and what was once an eerie silence is now only a quiet calm. Things have changed for Lunaris since I first came here, sometimes in perceptible ways and sometimes not. Have I changed too? I walked for the long way back to White Wolf Inn, deciding to walk almost twice that, to give my still rattling brain some time to sort itself out. There's no fear of getting lost. There haven't been for a very long time. As I trace the paths with my gait and my only muscle memory, I find myself wondering which path Omen took the first time he arrived in Lunaris. He's never told me that. I have a sense he doesn't like talking about things that happened right before his escape from home, so I've never pushed. I wonder if he will tell me now, after what? The wedding? Gods, the wedding. I know that I said yes, and I'm not about to take it back, but everything else still feels so unbelievable. Me, Michelle Dubois, consort of a demon prince? I look down at my hands, wondering if those spare paws and fingers. They don't, of course. I don't think anything about me will ever change. Isn't that why Omen loves me? Because I'm human? Quiet footsteps make me look up. Well, look who it is. One arm around Finn's shoulders, his other hand holding two impressive sized bottles of liquor. Alcar emerges from one of the side streets. Finn owls wistfully at me, then raises his spoils in a salute. Finn does the same thing, grinning, but there's only one big bottle of whiskey in his hand. I heard the good news. Congratulations, Michelle. He winks and turns to Alcar and grins. You hunters are getting betrothed left and right this month, What? Alcar's face is flushed crimson. Finn turns to me, his grin downright feral. Oh, you haven't heard this part yet? My friend here is getting ready to tie the knot, too. No, I haven't heard that. So now that I do, I cross my arms and pretend to frown, though it's hard not grin instead. And Piper dared to tease me this morning. Shut up. Alcar is staring fixedly at the ground, blinking rapidly, his face so flushed. I have a sudden thought that he might be drunk, or at the very least tipsy. I confess, I did make a joke with Ezra about these hunters breaking precedents all over the place, but this is much better than anything I could imagine. Finn adjusts Alcar so he's more supported, then sweeps his bottle of whiskey towards me in a dramatic gesture of support. In all 600 years of my life, and the extra something I don't care to mention, rarely have I seen something so courageous, so beautiful. And just like I tell Alcar, if you need any help at all, Michelle, don't hesitate to tell me. Tell? More like I said I might fancy making an honest woman out of Merriman. The first thing you did was drag me to the fucking Tombs for a new outfit. Despite his annoyance, Alcar doesn't make any move to break away. If anything, he shoots me a commiserating look. It's true, I haven't really thought about details like that. Shouldn't we just have a ceremony or whatever naked? Then we won't have to peel all that stuff off for the fun after. Never let it be said I don't let a man dream, let alone my best friend. But are you really looking forward to Ezra sitting in the front row staring at you with that disappointment written all over his face? So you're dressing me up to save your boyfriend some heartache. You fucking devil. As Alcar shakes his finger in Finn's face, but then as though remembering I'm still here, grins at me. No offense to his hellish highness's consort. Thank you, it hasn't sunk in yet. Trust me, mate, I don't know if it ever will. Then that's why we're drinking, see? It relaxes you and lets your pores fully absorb the good news. Finn says this so sage-way, surely I would have thought he said the truth as he knows it if he didn't turn and wink at me. I don't know if I have enough pores to fully absorb this in my good news. Alcar nods along, but Finn's smile is sympathetic. Don't think too deeply about it. Sometimes good things are simply that, good things. I don't know who his words are for, me or Alcar, who makes a dubious noise, but slowly straightens up. I watch as he clears his throat and tries to stand on his own 2 feet, mostly successful, and looks at the 3 bottles he's holding in his hand. Then he takes one and holds it out to me. When's the big day? After this hangover, I guess. Me and Piper, we're not picky. As long as there's food and booze, I'm guessing. Of course there'll be plenty of that. Who do you think we are? Alcar's noise dissolves. He stares dazedly at the stars above us. God damn, I'm going to be a one-human man. I take the offered alcohol bottle from him, mostly so he doesn't accidentally drop it in his daze. Then snorts, shaking his head, and pats Alcar on the shoulder before taking his arm again. Better get him back to his cave before he gets too sentimental. Piper's house is closer, isn't it? Alcar's scowl deepens, but his eyes widen with that realization. Yeah, it kinda is, huh? I don't know how kindly she'll take to a vampire and her husband-to-be showing up in front of her door. You mean she's not at the tavern drinking right now, anyway. Don't worry, we'll just break in the window. I turn away, pretending like I haven't heard a half-like and planning a break-in to my colleague's house. Isn't that bad luck to do that before the wedding? Let's just get you to Ezra. That sounds more reasonable. Come on. No, let's go to Piper's. Ben gives me a helpless smile, then hustles my car away. We've been knee on the street with a bottle of, now that I read the label, cheap wine. Planning to August would buy just to jump into the ocean. Which seems like a cosmically logical timing for me to go back to my room and get some sleep, but suddenly I feel restless. I don't know if I want to see Omen exactly. Well, yes, of course I want to see him, but shaking my head, I head for the Ibex instead. The Ibex hasn't seen much change since the Woodridge twins left. I never openly questioned it, but I have a feeling Lunaris' townspeople aren't too happy about renovating the place. Besides, even if they do, there's no object or subject of worship. Better to leave it as a beautiful ruin, I suppose. Then that in shambles more or less hasn't stopped it from becoming an attractive place for young couples to come in and defile what is left, but still wholly with young coupley activities anyway. I see traces of their passing and discarded trash around the main hall, some graffiti on their columns and walls, and I don't even want to look at the dais. Luckily, the Ibex is still beloved enough by two people. With a snap of her fingers, Elaine Morningstar wipes the graffiti away and burns the trash to specks of ash. Michelle, I didn't expect you here. It's good to see you. Amuro smiles at me from near the stone dais. Lacking his wife's mythical powers, he's playing things the old-fashioned way, with a bucket of soapy water and a rag. You don't have to do that. I can send someone from headquarters down to the community service tomorrow. Isn't that bullying? Ambrose wrings the rags out and looks at me expectantly. No, it's punishment. They're always misbehaving greenhorns. You need a dose of humbling. This is a nice and easy task for them to do. What do you think, darling? It would be less work for you, indeed. Elaine gathers her dress in one hand and hops up the steps to her husband, who tosses the rag aside to take her hand. He drops her in and kisses her hair, a movement so affectionate as it is familiar. I politely avert my eyes. Maybe I should have gone home after all. Don't worry about it. I'll send someone here tomorrow. I'm sorry for intruding. Not at all, General. Wait. Elaine has turned back to me. She stares me from where she stands for a moment, and as much as I've been stared at by several people this entire day, somehow her scrutiny is the most heavy. That's because she's your fiancé's sister. She's going to be your sister-in-law. That's a little heavy. After a pause, however, she breaks into a grin and walks back over, and throws her arms around me, squeezing as hard as she can without breaking in my bones. When Elaine lets go, she squeezes my hands and cradles my face in her hands. You have made my brother very happy. Until the very end, I hope that you'll be the only image his heart holds. I smile at her, waiting for the or else I'm sure is right behind it. Elaine says nothing like that. She just smiles back and lets go. She curtsies, which prompts me to give her an awkward bow in response, then goes back to her husband. Ambrose gives me a radiant smile from afar before picking his rag back up. He seems happy. No, he is happy. As Elaine takes his hand, his smile brightens more. The only image a heart holds, huh? Take my leave, back to the cool night air. Now I should definitely go home. You have to include Ambrose and Elaine if you romance Omen by himself or with someone else. Alclar's words rattle in my brain the next morning about wedding clothes and the potential of Ezra's profound disappointment. Unfortunately, so sometime past breakfast, I drag myself to his shop. I'm not exactly sure what it is I'm looking for. Ezra isn't a tailor, but by the time I have my doubts, I'm already inside. It's Omen who answers my knocking and lets me in. Where have you been? Sorry, I was here last night. I thought to come to your room, but then I was worried you might be tired and would want some rest. You know I'd never turn down your company. Oh, man. Then he smiles shyly and laces his fingers with mine. He takes me to Ezra's counter, which is currently covered with open books and parchment scrolls. Clothing sketches, I realize. A lot of them, and books on Estrian wedding traditions. You were doing research? Yes, and some designs, too. Ezra emerges from the back of the shop with a tray laden with tea and snacks, his grin huge and his eyes bright. He goes around the counter and gives me a hug, brief but firm. Thank you. Lots of congratulations from me lately. Don't feel singled out. I gave Alcar a hug, too. He struggled quite a bit. I glance at the counter while Omen pours the tea and shoves a plate of sweets in my direction, not taking any for himself and burning his mouth, I hope. Alcar asked you for help with his outfit? A little, but then Finn dragged him away to his treasure trove underground, so I hope that the two of them find something. Mostly it's been Omen's effort. Omen, can't you glamour into anything? Of course, but I still need to know what it looks like. This is true. He twirls a strand of hair around his finger like he usually does when he's nervous. His face is red. It makes my heart warm. I turn to Ezra, who's watching us with a spark in his eyes and a bright smile. Thank you for this. Don't thank me yet. I was just providing him with books. And we still haven't gotten to the most important thing, the ring. It definitely can't be certain types of metal. I think that looking silver would really suit you as a hunter. Ezra rubs his chin and turns away, and I know for a fact that he's been thinking about this. I turn back to Omen, who's pouring tea from the pot directly into Biscuit's mouth, and with a glance we retreat to the back, out of Ezra's way while he works. Who the fuck is Biscuit? To be fair, I think he was working on it for Alcar's sake. He was very insistent on metal that is silver looking. For Piper. Really? Alcar's surprisingly thoughtful. And brave and kind in the things that matter to him. Omen leans on the wall and crosses his arms. He glances around the back room, a small smile on his face as though he's reminiscing. He looks at me, smiles, and takes my hand. Once again, he holds it so gently, as though if I relax my arm, it will slip right out of his grasp. But I do, and his grip tightens, just enough to hang on to me. I don't think he'll ever let go so easily. Ah, sweetheart. He's staring right at me. His words are meant for me. And then Omen smiles. His excitement is tempered by naked affection. He leans forward and kisses me on my lips and my forehead. I can't wait until you see what I'll wear. 1 month later. Gossips intensify naturally, but the uproar caused by Piper and Alcar's joining helps to dampen anticipation for ours a little. It's not without its benefits. I can only deal with so many people staring at me like I'll burst into flames at any moment. Piper and Alcar go first, and we open what seems like every last casket in the damn tavern. We drank and we ate for an entire night, hunters and enforcers sitting shoulder to shoulder with many things that weren't quite human. Then there's a lull. And now it's our turn. It's truly small and quiet, as I promised August. But I don't entirely do it because I promised August. I just don't like the thought of too many people knowing Omen is here, in case his curious father sends a troublemaker along. Maybe I'll attend my own wedding armed, but who can blame me? We hold it in the IBEC, which is cleaned up some more by junior hunters and enforcers serving their community service sentences, and there are precisely enough people in it. And we do it fast because despite whatever Elaine has tried to do for this place, nobody is enthusiastic about having to sit in the crooked pews and eat or drink when the tavern is down the street. So we stand, we exchange rings and promises, and then Alcar and Piper excuse themselves for the tavern, the rest following. With our guests gone, the IBEC is back to the peace and quiet it always holds after dark. Oh, look at that! Ah. So pretty. Omen stands at my side in front of the dais, hands behind his back, and together we stare up at the colored glass windows. Do you know who this temple worshipped? Was it real? The deity? Why do you ask? Who else better to ask about gods than a demon? Owen laughs quietly, but then brushes his fingers on the stone dais. His expression is contemplative. That is so sweet, and it would almost be Omen talking about after the hunter passes. I watch as he gathers up some brimstone lilies spouting at the cracks in the stone. They glow brighter in his hands, lovely little nightlights in the dark. I swallow thickly. Flustered doesn't feel like the word I want to use, but I feel unsteady all the same, like flying, with nothing below me save the conviction and affection in Omen's words to keep me buoyed. I reach for him and he comes closer, lets me tuck his hair behind his pointed ear with a smile. Until the end, it may be the only image in your heart. Owen blinks and takes my hand and turns it so that both of the rings we now wear are showing. They gleam in the fractured, colorful moonlight, silver and bright and blinding. Then he tucks the lilies behind my ear and brings my hand to his lips. A kiss. Yeah! And I feel that with every mortal bone in my body. Until the end. Till death. Okay. One more. Come on. And now the last one is revealed. Halloween. This was released last October. The last Halloween. It was actually released a little before that to give people a chance to actually live stream playing it on Halloween. So this was the only part of the game that I actually got to live stream right after it was released, besides the ReVamp. There we go. And kind of seeing that it's now about a month before Halloween again. I do enjoy working the week leading up to Hallows Eve. Creatures are restless during this time, even more so than usual. Even if you get a bigger influx and less dangerous ones rather than, say, a 7 feet tall flaming demon from the 9 circles of hell, excellent nuisances to pass off to junior hunters and enforcers on probation. I am arguably long since past the hazing days, but in town as well as in theirs, every hunter needs to go on call, and all these defense plans are airtight. So there's no room for me or my colleagues to argue even if we wanted to. So here I am, the night before Halloween, facing down 3 imps who are trying to wreck the baker's chimney. Are you guys serious? One of the imps, a gangly bat-winged creature with horns and twin spiky tails, throws me a raspberry from the rooftop. Then he suddenly pauses and squints his pupilless, mustard yellow, bulbous eyes at me. He yanks on his friend's tail and points at my face. I hear them chatter something in what I'm sure is the infernal tongue. And then a miracle happens. The three imps stop banging on the porch chimney with their mallets. They even drop the things and hop down from the roof and bow at me. Huh. Thanks? My hunter instincts tell me it might be wise to lop off their heads right now and call it a day. That doesn't feel right. What am I supposed to do? Let them go so they terrorize babies or put dead rats in someone else's wardrobe? As in debating the dilemma, I feel the approach of a bright and familiar presence. From an alley, the love of my life, and coincidentally the Prince of Hell himself, emerges. Omen smiles beautifully, guiltily, and crumbles up something in his hands that I suspect is a candy wrapper. Knowing him, it's probably even chocolate. You know, the thing he has an allergy to. Don't tell me you're here for mischief-making, too. He turns to the three imps, who are now frozen in terror. Well, since he's here, can you tell them that they can leave with their lives if they promise to get the hell, no pun intended, out of town and out of our patrol radius? Omen inclines his head without hesitation. He doesn't say anything so much as just glances at the troublemakers. His eyes flash black and cold for a moment, and the imps scatter, screeching in terror like they've seen the face of Satan himself. Which, Omen is Satan's son, so there you go. In a moment they're gone, and we're left alone in the quiet, peaceful street. Somewhere out of sight, something explodes. A cloud of acid-green smoke begins curling up into the night sky. I could be smart and ask him to go with me tonight and just tell every infernal-related troublemaker to stay out of the way and lessen my workload. Instead, I lace my fingers together and kiss his knuckles, closing my eyes as Omen hums low in his throat. I'll be back in the morning. Will you be at the party? What party? Oh, the one held at the Wolf? I was told it's traditional, though Alcar said it, so I'm not sure. I grimace. Since it's Alcar, if it's not traditional before, it's about to be. Then I process the rest of what he said. Alcar's going to be at the party? Yes, with Piper, I'm sure. They do everything together now. Yes, because they're married. Hello? Yes, they got married, just like you and Omen did. Even her patrols. I suddenly feel sorry for whoever took up Piper's challenge of hunting down the most creatures this year. Is it going to be a costume party? I have no idea, but I hope not. I don't know what to wear. Omen looks worried, which is amusing considering even this humanoid form is a costume, what he looks like beneath. I've only had glimpses, but I know that if Omen pulls that out, he'll probably scare everyone right back home until next Halloween Eve. He touches his face and Omen blinks and smiles. Turns his head to press a kiss to my palm, and I've already forgotten anything about any silly party. You'll do fine, love. Just wiggle your tail. It's so authentic, nobody will notice. Omen laughs and shakes his head, then kisses my forehead and pulls me close. So you really aren't going to ask me to help with your patrol? It's my job. Besides, I know you don't like bullying the lesser demons. Were you? Demon Prince's favor in the month of the dead? I'm terrified and excited. Omen looks away, his cheeks coloring, but he winks at me and then lets go, disappearing down an alleyway. Another explosion, bigger this time. Bloody Halloween. Patrol wraps up come late morning with little incidents, and I take full advantage of my day off, spending most of it napping. But I have to swing by Ezra's shop for something before I can head to the party. As soon as I step inside, I have to pause. Ezra has spruced up the place. There are cute decorations everywhere, but it's the witch himself who gives me pause. So, in the DLC, there was actual decorations in the shop, but now they're not there. I think something got missed. He grins from under the most perfectly typical witch hat I can ever imagine anyone wearing. Michelle, so good to see you. I look to the tall vampire standing behind Ezra at the counter, who seems like he's trying too hard to look casual if you ask me. Am I interrupting something? Yes? No! Ezra elbows his lover, glancing at him pointedly. Finn huffs, but then grins at me, curly fangs showing. Well, that's one less creature making mischief where I can't see, so I'm not exactly upset. I can definitely come back later. No, you're already here. State your business. Get it out of the way. His tone suggests he doesn't want me to come back once I'm gone. But considering what Master Finnegan Casimir is known for in this town, I also don't have any objections to. In fact, I agree. Ezra clears his throat, but then bursts out laughing. Finn purses his lips. Someone I respect him too much to call a pout, but our friend's joy is infectious. Soon he's smiling, and so am I. Ezra has, against all odds, managed to celebrate a somewhat scary and stressful season in a pleasant manner, which is just like him. I just want to refill some of my potion stock. Oh, that's easy. Wait here. I got everything sorted. Ezra swiftly ducks into the back. The 700-something vampire smiles with such fondness after him that for a moment just looking at him makes my chest feel tight. There's few I've ever met who love one another as Finn and Ezra love each other. You're staring, Hunter. Sorry. Don't be. I'm here to be admired. I roll my eyes and Finn laughs. He leans back on Ezra's counter, crosses his arms and regards me, and I see the fondness creeping into his expression, too. And for the record, Finn is wearing highlighter. I don't think people have picked up on that. It's a strange feeling to know that creatures of the night like me. Oh, by the way, I did want to tell you something, not for the purpose of lengthening your patrol, of course. It'll be someone else's round now anyway. I'm not working any more than this. Not today. Finn holds up his hands. Absolutely, but have you seen any ghosts? I instinctively reach for the bottle of sacred water and the enchanted holly leaves at my belt. Seeing where my hand's going, Finn hastily shakes his head. Now wait, I'm sure they're not here to cause trouble. Excessively. But they are working. Monsters do not work on Halloween. They should know that. Everyone knows that. And this vexes me. He knocks his knuckles restlessly on Ezra's counter, and the expression on his face is one of actual, genuine chagrin. I look away because I might laugh otherwise, and I don't know how seriously I should take Finn taking this seriously. He passes a hand over his face and sighs dramatically. It's becoming increasingly difficult to keep a straight face. I was just going to say, keep an eye out for those ghosts. If you see them, tell them to knock it off. Ezra reemerges with a triumphant and pointed sound. He gives me a beatific smile as he sets the wooden case down in front of me on the counter. Here you go. Restock as you need. There's no urgency on Ezra's face. He's too much of a good shopkeeper to rush me. But over his shoulder, Finn gives me a pleading face. Oh, it's like you were eating into my time with my beloved. Hurry up and get the fuck out. Luckily for him, I know exactly what I need to get from the kit Ezra has indeed prepared for me, so it's faster work. While I do so, however, Ezra turns to Finn and whispers something quietly that I try hard not to eavesdrop on. But I do see him lay a hand on Finn's chest out the corner of my eye. Wow, okay, faster, Michelle. Oh, Michelle. Almost done, sorry. I should have waited until tomorrow morning. It's okay, really. We were just wondering if you're going to the party. Is everyone going to this party? Ezra shrugs. It's going to be fun. Everyone's going to be there. You can bet. August is going? Probably to keep an eye on everyone, since it's the only functional inn in town. But I'm sure I can convince him to at least have a few drinks. So are you going? Omen swung by a little while back in a rush to get a costume all sorted. I'd hate to see him not be able to show it off to you. Critical hit. When was this? Right about now? I shove the remaining few things I need into their slots around my belt and my pouches, thank Ezra, and leave. I find out why soon enough. It's because the party hasn't actually started yet. Finn must have said that to get me out of the shop as soon as possible, which I can't blame him for, but that leaves me now in the awkward position milling around the not yet begun event as the barmaid and her helper start back and forth laying out the tables. With my boss. Wasn't expecting you here. There's already a glass of wine in their hand, and I know it's going to be a long night for them. I'm not sure what they're dressed as, but for all I know, this outfit is a casual Tuesday for them. Especially not before you have made your report to me, and trust me, I will know, even if I am not in my office. Ah, yes, the enchantment under that tray on your desk where you tell us to deposit all of our reports. August looks annoyed. I don't think I'm supposed to know that the enchantment is specifically attached to that tray. I just assume that August has to rest a piece of their soul in their office, always watching and scowling at their subordinates. Despite them being here and scowling at me in person, I don't mind it that much. We have our differences, but we still have a lot more in common than some of the denizens circling in. I can't help but stare at a tall individual who has to deck and get his antlers through the doorway. If they're fake, they're the most realistic fake pair of antlers I've ever seen. August is pinching the bridge of their nose like they have a migraine brewing. Yes, I know, that's why I'm here. I figured, Ezra said as much. At least nobody's fighting, can't complain about that. Yet. The fingers jerked towards the table like they're tempted to knock on wood. Then the doors burst open and Piper and Elcar, both dressed as pirates, stroll in. They're arguing and laughing at the same time somehow. Sounds legit. Sounds like Piper and Elcar. Down their heels, the small controlled tsunami of townspeople, most of them in fancy dress or comically bad costumes, and some creatures in comically bad human costumes. August sighs. Soon the party is in full swing. Not many people talk to me, which I don't mind too much. It's been a long day, and honestly, I'm tired. Saw a few of our own enforcers and hunched in the mix, aside from Piper, though, who seemed relieved when our gazes happened to catch. At least the food is good. There's a veritable fountain of cheap, not in-house ale, and wine that the innkeeper was probably waiting all year to get rid of, multiple dishes and small portions that anyone can eat, and candy. I start looking around for a demon prince. Across the wolf's busy tavern, I catch Omen's eye. He grins and waves at me with so much enthusiasm and nearly knocks a pair of fake horns he's wearing off his head. Glad for a chance to escape further conversations and make excuses and duck past the crowd until I'm at Owen's side. By the time I'm there, he's fixing a piece of costume with little success, but he doesn't seem to mind too much that sits crookedly on his head. I eye them, then eye him. Nice costume. Hey, isn't that the coat he wore for our wedding? Omen grins immediately, his eyes shining. He plucks the fake horns off his head and holds them out to me with a giggle, like some small, delightful treasure he's found in some souvenir shop. And maybe they are. There's also a badge on his vest I just noticed. It announces boldly, Satan. Isn't it great? The badge is a nice touch. Ezra made it for me. Uma's tail twitches the way it always does when he's exceptionally delighted. I smile at him, but Cloud's trying to make sure no one's staring too hard. People are staring, but to my relief, nobody seems like they're suspicious, or takes out Omen's costume anything like seriousness. Don't worry, Michelle. Tonight, everybody is pretending. And say you choose to go as yourself, knowing that his assumptions will keep you from harm. Omen smiles again, but it's cheeky this time. His eyes gleam with the speck of the sea of fire I know resides in his soul. Powerful glamour and a fondness for humans away from burning us all to cinders. The concealment is absolutely phenomenal. I love that. I stare at him. Omen giggles again and kisses me on the corner of my mouth, then on my forehead, then again on my cheek, so quickly I can't keep up with him, and immediately after, he pulls away. That's not fair. You know I like your bad jokes. Omen's eyes are gleaming. Both. Yes, both. He laughs, low in his throat, and my heart jumps up into my throat. I swallow hard and grip his arm, and Omen brushes his fingers over the back of my hand. His tail sneaks around my waist. I go with him, let him wrap his arm around my shoulders, but I can't help but feel like Omen is bolder than usual. I cross my arms. You haven't been drinking, have you? Omen looks genuinely surprised. The fake horns on his head tilt dangerously, and I quickly catch it. He mutters a sheepish thank you, then shrugs helplessly. I'm not drinking human drinks. and he perks up, tail wriggling. The golden jewelry near the tip tingled together merrily. But I feel very good, very energetic. Ever since, last night? Does it have anything to do with the fact that a tail is green? Omen purses his lips. Unconsciously, he nods. I look around quickly. Nobody seems to have caught on to our conversation, which is a miracle considering the general and Omen is, well, himself. How are you feeling? Do you feel like you're going to blow up? Not something so dire, my love, but Omen trails off and looks at the crowd thoughtfully. He follows his eyes to see that one of the very badly disguised creatures is beginning to, glow. August swoops them like a vengeful hawk, though, and the almost disaster snapped out with a few stern words. The creature, some kind of goblin, scratches her head apologetically and starts making excuses. I grab Omen's wrist. Shall we go somewhere less crowded? Of course. Nobody pays us any mind as we go up the stairs. I was right about the party. The floor trembles under our feet. No way can I sleep with this noise. Omen smirks at me as I close and locks the door behind us. I feel the brush of his tail around my waist, the warmth of his hands as he runs them up over my arms. I shiver. I think either one of these will work. So got my trusty D4. So odd number we go with the first option. Even number we go with the second. Even number. Finally, it's a 4. Did you see me, Highness? I turn in Omen's half embrace and touch his jaw, tracing the strong line up his cheekbones, then his pointed ear. Omen's eyes flutter close at my gentle ministrations, and I spend a moment admiring the contrast of his dark flashes on his skin. But it's not his real skin, is it? We're still too close to civilization for a proper look, but for a true unmasking, but I kiss him, tangling my fingers into his soft hair. His taste of wine and something sweet, and something else I've never been able to place. Let me see you. Here? Yes. I take the fake horns off of his head, the badge too, toss them aside. No more pretending, joke or not. I want a glimpse of the intoxicating truth. Omen's brown eyes soften. For a moment, I see love reflected in them, as simple and human as myself. And then they change. Black bleeds into the white. His eyes glow, mesmerizing. His presence grows too, a terrible, awful, magnificent strength that fills up the room and overwhelms my hunter's senses. Broad hands rest with absurd gentleness on my hips. Omen's kiss is sharp, toothy, and perfect. The world below remains ignorant. And that's it. So, that's everything. Well, everything for an Omen playthrough. So now we have all his CGs unlocked. And this one is another CG, but that's only unlocked in a certain case. So, that's it for when the night comes ReVamp. Thank you for joining me and for watching. If you're watching this later, I don't know if I'm going to continue streaming on Sundays. I haven't decided yet. But my cat went in my room, so I will go ahead and end this here. And thank you all for joining me, and take care.